Welcome back to episode 2 of Creator Conversations, where I interview and just talk to some of the most influential creators here in this credit card and personal finance niche that we find ourselves in. Last episode, I had the pleasure of talking with Chase Yokoyama, who I had a really good conversation with. So if you haven't seen that video at this point, make sure you watch that video after this one. And if you're feeling extra generous, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel so I can produce more of this content for y'all every single week. Plus, if you do that in the videos in this series in particular, it shows me that you really do enjoy these conversations I'm having with folks. So it gives me even more reason to continue this series going forward. This week's guest is somebody that I've been subscribed to for quite a while on YouTube because he gives a ton of value on his channel as to how to get the maximum amount of redemption value you can from your points. If you're someone that likes to earn transferable currencies, then this is definitely going to be an episode for you. And without further ado, I'd love to welcome in Luke from Luke's Points and Miles into our conversation here today. Luke, how's it going?
Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to have you, man. I'm excited to get this series continued ongoing. And I know me and you have been talking for quite a while on a bunch of different things, but it's nice to finally get in one room or one virtual room together. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more with you here today.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah, I guess as for just a quick intro to yourself, do you want to just kind of talk about what you do, all your different, platforms, everything like that you've been working on?
Sure. I've had a YouTube channel for about 2 years now, just over maybe a month over 2 years, and growth has kind of been slow, steady Eddie. So I haven't realized that kind of boom that some people have, but very steady. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is mostly vacation pictures with the family and stuff like that. And I have a Facebook that I'm not very active on, kind of sticking with the Instagram and YouTube combo. And we are on Twitter also, and we're trying to learn how to use that. I'm a little older than most of the crowd in this kind of niche. So I'm not as big on the social media as some of the other guys. So we're trying to be active on social medias, but so far 2 years on YouTube and putting out consistent content at least twice a week.
Nice. Yeah, you're one of the guys that's out there posting way more than I feel like I can, and it's awesome to see. You and like RJ, for example, is posting like 3 videos a week.
I'm a big fan of RJ.
Yeah, it's awesome to see though. But yeah, I guess let's go ahead and just jump into some of the questions that we've got prepared here for you. Starting with the first one being a pretty simple one for you, but just asking, how would you actually break down your overall credit card strategy if you could?
My overall credit strategy has a lot to do with my mission or my why. And right now, my why is to do things I wouldn't normally be able to do. I could probably travel some and go to some cool places, but I'm in the credit card game to kind of take my wife to places she's never been. My primary motivation is my son. We live in a small town village type atmosphere, and he needs to travel because he needs to see how other people, other cultures, other places are. And I've done a pretty good job of exposing him to a lot of different things, but that never ends. So I have to continue to do that. And so my credit card strategy is transferable currency as a primary mission. I do American Express membership rewards points. And if you follow my channel, you know that I've just recently gotten into Chase Ultimate Rewards points. So primarily I focus on that because for me, it's the most versatile way to accomplish my mission, which is to take my family different places. I do have a cashback strategy, and I do have some really good cashback cards. And I do think that one day when things get a lot busier in my household and I'm not able to travel as much, we will kind of turn on that faucet of cashback, so to speak. So right now I can turn it on and then kind of turn it off as much as I want. So right now, a lot of transferable currencies, and I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to it. I get the bonuses, I get the referrals, I do every trick and every little thing I can to get the extra 50 or 60,000 American Express membership rewards points, and I've done pretty good so far. I generally earn well over 1 million points a year, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's crazy. I haven't seen that million number be hit yet in any of my accounts, but it's pretty awesome to see what you can do just by going for those bonuses alone. Even I think a lot of my strategy kind of plays into the role of I'm constantly applying for cards still, and maybe that's there's a little bit of a difference between how you've been in the credit card game longer than me, but I still am applying for like all my basically core credit card setup right now, which is a little bit different, but I'm still also doing the bonus hunting. But I only imagine if if I didn't necessarily care about my 524 status as much or just random stuff like that, I'd just be able to apply for as many cards as I can to get those points.
When I first started applying, my strategy was not very sophisticated. I kind of applied for the card I wanted today. And fortunately for me, I haven't had any kind of drawbacks or downfalls from that strategy. If you follow my channel, you know my strategy is very aggressive. I apply for a lot of cards, and I've really not stopped that velocity in the last 2 years. Matter of fact, it's like every day I'm thinking about applying for another Chase card. So that may be a thing I do any day now.
Yeah, that's a good feeling though, to be able to apply for whatever you want. I mean, I know a lot of like the relation between our channels, our same subscribers are kind of always talking about how much I feel like they hate the Chase 524 rule. And I think it kind of
Hmm.
makes people rule Chase out of their whole ecosystem just because they either get denied because of it and never want to come back. But it is, I think, important to get started with them as early as you can. But it's also really cool to see that you're getting started with them later and still having a lot of success. I feel like that's not
Yeah,
a story that's shared as much.
right. And I think the strategy of that is for those of us in the credit card game, you cannot ignore business credit. I think business credit is a true credit hack and a true points and miles hack. Even if you're not a super big business person, most of us have some type of side hustle. Most of us can qualify as a sole proprietor. So I would urge people, if they are over 524 and they want to maintain that velocity, there's a lot of really good business cards out there.
Yeah, that's a thing that I hadn't even considered before I got really started like diving heavily into the YouTube space in general. I had seen a lot of like Brian Jung's videos whenever I had just gotten started because that's kind of I feel like how he made a big part of his name was when he started off in credit cards
Sure.
and particularly business credit cards. I mean, obviously he's transitioning away from it and coming back nowadays, but yeah,
Well,
business is it's a whole different ball game, but it's also one of the easiest ways to accumulate a ton of points if you have that little bit of a higher spend
mhm.
or can have somebody help you out with that higher spend. But yeah, it's definitely an important thing that shouldn't go unnoticed, I feel like.
I, I also think it forces you to up your game all around. When you start applying for business credit and credit cards, you start learning different business technique. And if you're the head of your household or you handle the money in your household, you essentially run a business anyway. So you start getting better, you start learning more things just from being in the credit card game financial wise.
That's true. That's true. And I guess leading off of that question, can you go ahead and break down a little bit more about your highest spending categories and what cards you actually use for those purchases? More of a what's in my wallet, I guess, in a short
Sure.
sense here.
First off, if I have a card I'm trying to get the bonus on, I might do things a little different than other people. I use that card until it's gone. I generally get my bonuses under 30 days, and it's not a patience issue. It's more of a mission and objective issue with me. If I get a new card, I want the bonus as fast as possible. So if I do have a new card, that's all my spend is going on. If we're in a period where I'm not trying to focus on a spending minimum spend, food is probably my biggest expense. Groceries, and we eat out. We're down to only 3 people in my house, so the adult children have moved on, so we're not spending as much at the grocery store. But groceries and eating out. So of course I use the American Express Gold Card. I've had the Gold Card for since pretty early in my journey, and it's a great way to really rack up those MR points. I think my second highest category is going to be everything else. I don't spend a ton of money on gas. I just don't. Everything else is going to be my second most, and I generally use the American Express Blue Business Plus for my everything else. And the secondary card for that is the Capital One Venture X, because I live in a place where people still do not like accepting American Express. The vet, the doctor's office, which we have a HSA now, so we don't use credit cards at the doctor's office, but a lot of places still don't want to take that American Express. So it doesn't matter much to me because the Venture X, I think I need to put some more spend on that card anyway.
Yeah, I guess that brings up a question that I've had in general about catch-all credit cards. Is there a reason besides that just not being able to use your Amex cards that you would go with the Capital One Venture X instead? I usually tell people it's because maybe you want to accumulate more points of one of the lender's currencies, but I don't know what your method is there.
Well, one situation where my Capital One Venture X will be used is I booked that trip to Prague, Czech Republic in October. And in my experience, a lot of places in Europe won't accept American Express. So instead of pulling out an American Express card, and even then, the Blue Business Plus has a foreign transaction fee.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot easier for me just to use the Capital One Venture X for my entire trip.
Mhm.
I could argue that I would use the Chase Inc. preferred for the taxis, the trains, and things like that. But in all reality, if I'm in Europe, I have enough things to worry about, enough things going on. I'm probably just going to use that one card for the entire trip.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's also just, yeah, simplicity, I think, is a big thing when you're traveling too. So I see a lot of people make like a what's in my travel wallet kind of video
Mm-hmm.
too, because it's a completely different setup for the most part. Everything without foreign transaction fees.
That's right. No foreign transaction fees and primary rental car insurance. Probably just use that one for the entire week.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess before we move on from this topic, how many credit cards do you have in total? I'm sure people are curious to hear about that.
I did a video not too long ago that I think it was 24, and I think I got it the 25th. as the video came out. So I'm going to take a solid guess and say 26.
26. Gotcha. And does that include your canceled cards, or have you been applying for a lot
No,
more than that over time?
no, that's all active cards. And if you watch my channel, you also know I'm not afraid to cancel cards.
Yep.
So there are a lot of cards that I have gotten for a year and called American Express, said, hey, this one's not for me. I'm not afraid to cancel them. I don't cancel my older personal credit cards. I let them kind of age. But the newer ones, if I have it for a year and it's not cutting the mustard, go ahead and get rid of it.
That is something that's actually I've been inspired a lot by from your channel, because a lot of people, especially newer people to the credit card game, hear that canceling cards is such a bad thing. But, watching channels like your own, or even like Mark Reese, I know he cancels a lot of his cards too. Once
He
you
absolutely
get to those
does.
higher numbers,
Mm-hmm.
to a certain degree, it's always good to downgrade to a no annual fee card, or, put one charge on it a year, whatever it is, to keep it open. But if you have these annual fee cards that don't have good downgrade options, you really are only left with the choice to either pay an annual fee you're not going to use or cancel it. And from what I've heard from your channel and from other people's channels, it seems like canceling it is not actually a bad idea.
No. And then, we go back to the business card aspect of things. Your business cards don't affect your personal credit anyway. So it's much easier to cancel the business card. But I think the latest card I canceled was the BlockFi Visa card. And there was a time when I was really interested in the crypto movement and things like that. And I knew the card wasn't great, but I kind of wanted to be part of that movement. I wanted to get the card. I wanted to support that type of thing. I grew out of that. And when BlockFi did their whole bankruptcy thing, I didn't want to be part of it. It was a no annual fee card. I could have held it forever, but I just didn't want it. I didn't want it on the books, so to speak. So I canceled that one. And I think in 2023, I'm going to have at least 2 or 3 American Express cards that I'm going to cancel. So that should be really interesting to see how, they respond to that.
Yeah, especially everybody's real scared of the Amex pop-up jail, of course. But that does, I think, play a role a little bit in your strategy with credit cards too, of that you like to just earn them and burn them, is what I've heard you say before. And it's like, if you don't have a super high balance of Amex points in your account, you're a lot less worried of Amex's pop-up jail and not being able to use your points, all of that. So I think that that's a really good thing to take away too, is that if you are sitting there earning a ton of these points, but you never spend them, you have a lot higher risk of having those points taken away from you if you are having this really high velocity and, not using your card, stuff like that. But
Amex pop-up jail is different for everyone, but I've never really been scared of getting thrown in Amex pop-up jail. If they do that, I still have my American Express cards, and I still have 5 or 6 other issuers I can apply for. So I don't worry about that much.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to take away. Just be a little bit less worried about all these things. Just if you are smart with your credit cards, the credit card game can be extremely profitable. But of course, this all comes at the caveat of you have to pay your cards off on time and in full and actually be responsible with them. Because if you don't, then none of this matters, right?
But that's another thing that credit cards teach us. To be successful in the credit card game, you have to be financially responsible. And I know not all of us always have been.
That's a good point. Going back to your discussion about your travel experiences and travel credit cards in general, one thing that I think is something that gets talked about a lot in the credit card space, but less so when it comes to like this newer generation of credit card YouTubers that, maybe doesn't even have a spouse or anything like that, is the Player 2 credit card game. And I know that this is something that I would imagine you and your wife try to implement a little bit here and there. So my next question would be, do y'all use this Player 2 game that we talk about in the credit card world? And if so, how does that work?
We started out with, she would always be an authorized user, and I would send her a text maybe once a month, gas, groceries, food, everything else, that type of thing. And we've kind of progressed into her getting her own cards. So we do have the Player 2 strategy now. For the most part, it's still kind of in its infancy. So the points and miles she earns, for the most part, she keeps, just in case she wants to take, maybe her sister on a trip or her friends or whatever. But we actually did perform our first Player 2 evolution today. We're going to go to Cancun for Thanksgiving, and I need more Chase UR points to book this unreal expensive Hyatt booking. So we just got her the Chase Freedom Unlimited. She hit the bonus, and she just called Chase to transfer those 24,000 UR points to my account. So later this week, I can book this Hyatt all-inclusive for what should be our first real relaxation beach, not doing anything vacation. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, never works out quite that smooth, I feel like, but hopefully this time. But yeah, that's awesome. I know for me, I do have a girlfriend, and we're, both younger. We're 22, and she still has always refused to get a credit card her whole life. And I just finally got her to apply for her first, which was the Chase Freedom Unlimited. And luckily she got approved. But
a business class seat, long haul, or a oceanfront villa with a pool on the balcony or something, we'll change all that. She'll want to
Yeah,
get a credit card for that,
exactly.
especially
That's right.
when you don't leave with any souvenirs like a credit card bill.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's
We
all
actually,
free.
exactly. Yeah. We actually just took a trip to a Hyatt resort just near where we're located, kind of for like an early Valentine's last weekend. And I think that kind of turned her a little bit more towards it. I mean, it was a, 2 night stay, but out of pocket, we
Yeah,
paid like $150 for what should have been like $1,000 if we didn't use any points. That's still at a good
yeah,
redemption rate. It's not like I'm, just cashing out and then using it. But we like to play, or I like to play the game a little bit, and she gets to benefit as of right now. But I'm hoping to pull her in a little bit more.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of these trips that you're taking, like the one to Mexico here coming up soon, do you have some of favorite trips that you've taken with your credit card points? And can you explain them a little bit?
My favorite trips kind of go along with my mission objectives. My wife is of her background is of Irish ethnicity. So last year we got to go to Dublin for our anniversary. Our anniversary is St. Patrick's Day. So just to go to Ireland, I had never been to Ireland. We went to Ireland last year, but one of my favorite redemptions was pretty simple. I mean, actually, really simple. We all went, I think there were 6 of us, went to South Florida for 3 days. That's not a complicated redemption. That is easy. But like I said earlier, her older kids have moved out now. So try to get 3 adults together for a weekend now. It was one of the last times that would have been possible. So it was just really cool to see everybody together, kind of hanging out in South Florida. And South Florida is probably one of our favorite places to go. We're going there pretty soon, and it was just really special to have everybody together for that one. Not the last time, but last time for a while thing. As far as other redemptions, I think they're all special. I think whenever you can spend even we do a lot of short trips. So I think whenever you can do 2 or 3 days of sunshine and relaxation, especially in this day and age when we're all busy, we're all cranked up to 99 all the time. So when you can just fly to South Florida, sit in the sunshine, have a pina colada or whatever your thing is, just for a couple of days, that's a really special redemption, almost always. And it's, like I said earlier, as long as you're not bringing any souvenirs home, like debt, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, I think it's easy to get wrapped up, like whenever you're in the credit card world, as much as we are, in trying to get the maximum amount of value from every single one of your redemptions. And that's something I've kind of fallen victim to, where I'm like hoarding all my points until I make this one big trip that might come in the future,
It's
but a
fun.
lot of times doesn't happen. So yeah, it is fun when it does, but I feel like a lot of times it's also important to remember, like this past weekend trip that me and my girlfriend just took. Like I got so
Yeah.
much good experience from that by just doing a simple as like 30,000 points over to Hyatt for a weekend than it
And
would be to transfer them out 100,000 points to go do a first class flight across the world. So it's important to
and
realize that
guys,
those little things matter.
yeah, guys need to not overlook how great it is to do something like that for your lady. It's not overrated. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. On a little bit of a side tangent from that, whenever it comes to, I know your new travel habits are going to be a little bit more on the solo end of travel, at least that's what you've talked about on your channel here in recent past. But I guess, how do you expect your experiences to change now that you're taking more solo trips rather than with your family or with your spouse?
That's a tough question because I'm pretty versatile. So my thing when it's just me, I want to go somewhere I've never been. I'm a fairly safe person, so I don't worry too much about geopolitical events or I'm way too heavy to kidnap. I'm not as good of a victim as the next person walking down the street, so I don't really worry about that part. I just want to go places where I've never been, and whether that's with like an old Navy buddy or something like that, I don't mind going completely by myself. As long as I have my laptop with me and I can get a little bit of work done, I'll go do the tours by myself. I'll go, do that fun stuff. And like I said, I take short trips, so it's not like I'm running around the world by myself for 6 months. The most I think I could ever do would be 5 days because I have to come home. As far as that, the solo travel though, it does open up some different redemptions. Like the Prague trip I'm taking, I'm going to sit business class in Air France. That's a difficult trip to pay for 3 people. But since it's just me, it's a little easier to get that business class seat, on the way back as well.
Yeah, I imagine it's one of those things that I'm kind of going through right now too, just in life in general too, is like I am still younger to the point where I don't have much responsibility in the grand scheme of things. I don't have a family that I necessarily have to come back to. I do have a girlfriend, but it's also still a girlfriend. We're not married, so I don't really have that tie 100% yet. Don't have a house. So a lot of me really wants to start taking more trips like you're doing, even if they are smaller trips. Of course, even just paying for my spouse is one thing, but taking those solo, like aspirational trips, I think is harder to do, especially as, time goes on and you have a family, but it's so important still to take the time to, spend some time by yourself, I imagine. I can't speak from a ton of experience, but I bet that these solo trips will be pretty refreshing.
They are. And also for me, I do trips with just my son.
Yeah.
So from the time he was 4, 5, he's 6 now. We went to, I think in 6 months, we went to Disney World twice and Disneyland once.
Awesome.
So we have this new thing where we pick 2 away games for our favorite NFL team. And next year, I think we're going to do Phoenix. So we're going to go to a football game in Phoenix and Nashville. This past year, it was Tampa and Dallas Cowboys. So I'm using this travel to have that kind of bonding moment with my son. He's a big, huge football fan. I'm kind of, whatever. It's fun, but I'm not a huge fan. But just to take him to Dallas, we've never been to Texas. Take him to Dallas to see that giant stadium. He'll always remember that. So I have to fit the solo travel in with taking my wife to Ireland, and we're going to Hawaii this year too. And I have to fit in some father-son trips.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to get that 1,000,000 points every year.
Yeah. And it does come back to your overall why. Like at the very beginning, what we were talking about is this is what you want to use your points for, and you do use your points for that. Like you do value those experiences a lot, and I think that's something that I want to aspire to have for myself as well as time goes on.
But I think the people who stack cash back, I think that's awesome too.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as fulfilling to me to just stack cash in a checking account.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, over time, it might come to the point where you do value that more. You just value the simplicity, and you're not going to be traveling as much. But I think that's the cool thing about the credit card game is it can really adapt to where you're currently at, like what season of life you're currently in, which is really important to recognize. One question I did have about that, though, is do you ever implement the strategy of, say, using your points to transfer out to travel partners for your main bookings, for your hotel, for your airline? And then do you ever redeem cash to pay for the other expenses as a part of your trip? Or do you only ever just pay out of pocket for those experiences?
I kind of do cycles. And, most of us do quarterly videos, what's in my wallet for this quarter. Well, I kind of take that a step further, and I do a what's in my wallet and what's my credit card strategy for that quarter. Yeah. Now, for I think the last 2 or 3 quarters, I've been on a mission just to earn transferable currency. Yeah. And when I do that for a couple quarters, I think my entire travel itinerary is booked for 2023.
Yeah.
Now that that's done, like everything is done until 2024. So I'm not booking any more travel. Now that that's finished, I'm going to turn that faucet on for the cash back, and that all goes into a separate kind of play checking account. Now for that play checking account, yeah, I probably book some tours, some trips, some different things, but I'm very mission focused. I was a Navy man, so I still maintain a lot of that stuff they teach us. So I want a mission and I want to complete it, and then I want to move on to another mission. So I think next quarter, since all my travel's booked, my next video on what's in my wallet going to be a lot different. It's going to be some 5% cashback cards and things like that. How long that lasts, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. I do always love seeing RJ's videos about his cashback setup. I also watch Dave, Dave Hansen. I'm not sure if you watch his videos.
I don't think so.
He's been off of YouTube for a bit now.
I know he is. I know. Yeah. He is. He's all cashback.
Yeah, it's all cashback.
He's also a wealthy guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, what's that $6,000 in cashback doing for you when you're a wealthy guy?
That's a fair point. I guess we have to say the same about RJ, huh? Guys over there just not.
He's a worker. Yeah, he's a worker.
Yeah, he is. But it is cool though that those cashback setups. I mean, you can have like a 8-card cashback setup that gets you basically 5x in every category, which is pretty cool. I mean, at the end of the day, does it beat travel? That's up to debate. But
and in RJ's perspective, he's stacking that cash back and he's buying properties with it.
Yeah.
So one day he may own the entire Clinton Township in Michigan.
Yeah, exactly. All off a credit card point.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I did want to ask you just one, somewhat hard-hitting question when it comes to the credit card game, one that I haven't mentioned to you yet. But if you could only have credit cards from one lender, who would you choose and why?
Are you going to force me to go against my American Express fanboy status?
I was interested to see what you'd say.
You know what? Am I starting over from the beginning, or I guess it doesn't matter. I have to say, if I could only have cards from one lender, it's going to have to be Chase, and it hurts. Right. It hurts my heart to say it, but the versatility for the cashback and the travel. I bank with Chase both personally and the business side. Yeah. They do have a great suite of cards. American Express. The only reason American Express can't win that battle is because they're not accepted everywhere. And they just aren't. And I know people will argue, well, everybody, not in my experience.
Yeah, it is
But it's a great thing. We don't have to have just one lender.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I think it's a fun question to ask. It kind of does honestly rule out Amex right away. I feel like it could be adapted a little bit, maybe the question of being one main lender maybe or something like that. Because if you had, one catch-all card that was a Visa and then you use all your other cards were Amex, I could see that being a good setup.
If you gave me a 2% cashback card that was a Visa and one main lender, I'm going with American Express.
Yep, that makes sense. I feel like there's a massive fandom for Amex that is not really like any other fandom, which I think is really interesting, especially because for the most part, Amex's cards, they don't all have annual fees, but a majority of them do. So you would think that they're a little bit harder to justify for people. But what is your opinion on why they are so popular, even with those annual fees? Because I know a lot of people that I've talked to, they just don't think that they're accessible, because of those fees.
I think you have two really big reasons. And one of them is going to be the most underrated reason in the whole game, marketing. They do a great job of branding American Express and marketing it as something a level up above. Chase does a really good job of that also. But when you're talking about your credit union Visa card or any of the other top 5 banks, when you talk about American Express, there's this, they're just viewed as a high-end product. Yeah. And it's from the marketing, and the marketing is very good. And I think the second reason is the customer service. American Express has nailed down the technique to make you feel like a big shot.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to them, they make me feel like I'm a somebody. They let me into these lounges.
Yep.
They when I go to the Barclays Center in New York, I can go to a different door. They make me feel like I've made it. Or at least I'm getting close to making it. And I think they do that better than anyone else. So that's why they can get away with those high annual fees, because we want to be somebody. We want to be important, At least a lot of us do. And we fall for it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But at the same time, they have great cards.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's something that I've tried to get across to a lot of people, like a lot of my friends that maybe are just getting into the credit card game, is that, somebody will see that I have an Amex card and think that that's crazy because it has a high annual fee. It's a luxury credit card. And I only have the Amex Gold. I don't even have the Platinum yet. But it's also important to realize that if you do use the cards how they're intended to be used, while yes, you might be annoyed that you have to use it every month because they have these monthly credits on them, it's very easy to get positive value from these cards right off the bat without even having to, take into consideration all the points you're going to earn just by spending on it.
I spent a long time being that guy that said you're out of your mind if you pay a bank to use a credit card. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life until I sat down and decided to learn the game.
Right. And a lot of people, they might just not want to do that, and that's perfectly fine. And get you a good cashback setup and don't worry about it. Or it just always pains me to see somebody using a debit card still. I still can't get over that feeling, but it is what it is.
There's no reason for that.
Exactly right.
That's blasphemous.
Well, it's been a real pleasure talking with you so far. I do want to kind of bookend this with a question that you can take in whatever direction you want, but I am just curious to know what your goals are for your channel in 2023, both measurably, but also immeasurably as well.
Okay. My goals for my channel in 2023. One thing I really want to do, and I've tried to do it before and I've been very, very unsuccessful. I want to give some more on location videos. I don't ever want to be a travel vlogger, but I do want to make a video from Cancun. I do want to make a video from Prague, Czech Republic. I want to kind of continue the path that I'm on where we all do the credit card review. You have to learn how to use them. I also want to convey, my style of how I'm using them. And I want to educate people that those transferable currencies are not worth what this guy over here says they're worth. They're worth what you redeem them for. Right. And I think we all do a pretty good job of that. But I think the best way is to, hey, I'm sitting here in Prague and this is how I got here.
Right.
And that was, I think, the hardest thing for me to get started in this game was I knew that was really complicated and I wasn't sure I wanted to learn all that. So measurably, I don't know. I've already done more than I ever thought I would do in the YouTube game. I think measurably, that's something I'm still working on. My really big goal was 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be able to get that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how long that'll take, but I think I'm going to be able to get it. And some of the guys I've spoken with that are in the YouTube game, they have this belief that if you can reach 10,000 subscribers, now you've created a different ceiling.
Right.
Now 20, 25,000 is not out of the question.
Right.
So I'm still kind of working on that. Really, I just want to get a better channel. I want better quality stuff. I'm behind the curve technology wise and, knowledge of editing and things like that. So I want to improve upon that and just see where it goes.
Right. Yep. That's my biggest saying that I might keep repeating in these videos, but my mantra for my channel is basically just to get 1% better with each video. And I know it might be a little bit cliche, but at the same time, it's like if you do that, video after video, it compounds pretty quickly. And like you said, on the subscriber growth path as well, every time you reach that new milestone, whatever that milestone is in your head, the next X amount are going to be even easier to hit. And it's really cool to see what is possible on YouTube. And I think that your channel's done a great job of being super informative, but I've also felt like I've gotten to see a lot of your like personality a little bit like outside of what just happens with credit cards, which is really, it's not super easy to do, but I think that's why you found a lot of success as well, outside of obviously the value that you bring people. But I do hope to see more of your, high value redemption series, seeing those, because I honestly, like I think I was talking with Chase about it in our interview. I actually really want to use a few of those in my personal life. I mean, it might not be exactly the same whenever I come back and look at it, but yeah, I mean, it's a really cool series that can actually, I mean, one of those trips could really change somebody's life. So it's like you are reaching a ton of people, which is awesome.
There are certain places on this planet that everyone should go, and some of those places are in that series. I like those Greek islands. I know it's kind of cliche in the social media world we live in now, like the Instagrams and all that good stuff in Mykonos and different places, but I got to go to the Greek islands when I was a kid in the Navy. Every young man, not old like me, but every young man should go over to Greece for one time.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. Do you have any other recommendations while I have you on here? Because I got to get them from you.
Oh boy, definitely go to Greece. If you're a man of faith or you're family of faith, I can definitely see some value in going to Rome and the Vatican and things like that. Or I've also been to Israel. And if you're a person of faith, going to Israel and going to these places you've read about, it's pretty awesome. And Israel is a place you can go to even if you're not a person of faith, because you may still know these stories and know this significance on this planet, because there are all religions in that area. So that's a great place to go. Really, really special place to go. And it's not easy to get there. Yeah. So you get into the credit card game, and now you've got that opportunity.
Yeah, that's what it does. That's what it does for a lot of people. It just opens up a door that you didn't think possible. I think a lot of people, like you harp on your channel a little bit too, is a lot of people will say that, these redemptions are not really worth what we say they are, because they wouldn't go out and spend the cash for that first class flight or for that super luxury hotel. So I got to hear your thoughts on that a little bit too.
Listen, you can argue all day, but the price is the price. You can tell me you wouldn't pay for it. I could tell you that that's way over my limit. But if I'm booking a $9,000 round trip to the Czech Republic, that's the cost. That's how much. That's the price tag.
Yeah.
So that's the value my tickets are, or that's the value that trip is. Now, you could tell me it's only worth $1,000. I don't understand that logic one bit, because the dude next to me paid $9,000.
Yeah.
And I paid what, $300 in taxes.
Yeah.
So, and it makes me feel better if it's a $9,000 price tag, and I get to sit on there like I'm something.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing about it, is like I would never be able to take one of those trips. I mean, maybe I will one day, but let's just say it right now, I would not be able to take one of those trips in cash form, but I can with my points, and it's not breaking the bank, because I'm dipping into my points that I've earned from welcome bonuses or what have you. So it really is that valuable to me personally. I guess, everybody's going to have their own opinion on it, but I do like that you point that out on your channel, considering you probably get so many comments about it, being a points and miles guy.
Yeah. It's the cool thing about the points and miles game is we are all doing the same thing, and it's mostly really positive. Even the disagreements are mostly positive, but when you do come out with a stance like that, you know how the internet is.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some different people out there.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Before I let you go, do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with people? Any parting words? Obviously, I want you to be able to share a little bit about your channel as well. Get a quick plug in there, of course. But
well, my channel is Luke's Points and Miles. Talk about credit cards, points, miles, travel, and cashback. As far as the community, if you're watching this video, you're watching Spencer's channel, or you watch somebody else's channel, find out your why and learn how to accomplish that. When I first started getting in this game, I thought it was super, super complicated, and it took me a long time to take that plunge and start diving into the literature and the vlogs, the blog, the YouTube channels. If you're watching this already, you're already way ahead of schedule. Take your time. I love hearing about somebody's first redemption, and I'm sure you get the same like DMs. Like, hey, I just took my wife to, it could be something as simple as I just took my wife to a Cubs game in Chicago, and we stayed at the Waldorf Astoria. That's awesome. And if we can help you guys do that, that's even better. The best thing you guys can do for us as creators is let us know that something we said or something we shared helps you.
I agree with you. At the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, right? I mean, we're those people that also are obsessed with this game, but also are okay with sharing our face and sharing our personalities out there on the internet, which not everybody is like that, but
It's tough.
yeah, it is. But we are a part of a community that's really educated on this topic and really passionate about it. So to be able to be a little bit of a messenger in this world, I think has been a true blessing to me. And I imagine for a lot of other creators out there. I don't think you see all of the guys that, in our little space that are out there just for a money grab. That's not exactly what this is by any means.
Yeah, no. I think what's more valuable than any kind of sponsorship or ad revenue is going to be, hey, I watched your channel and I took my wife to Spain.
Yeah.
She's Spanish. She would have never went back and saw her heritage and her culture and her different things. We got to do that because some of the stuff we learned on your channel. Yeah. That's awesome. Or even on the other side of things, I got my first mortgage because I watched your channel and it helped me become financially responsible.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right. Yep. So it's little seeds that we're hoping to be able to plant and help foster, I think, in this space, which is the important
Absolutely.
Stuff. Right. Well, Luke, I appreciate you once again for taking the time to talk with me today. As always, I will be linking everything about you down below, basically. But Luke's Points and Miles, for those of y'all that are interested, go check out his channel. I'll be talking to you soon.
Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching if you made it to this point in the video. If you did enjoy this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel so I know to make more of these for you in the future. And as always, I will link the playlist to the other creator conversations I've had so far and will continue to have in the future. But if you're looking for some of my more regular credit card content, then go ahead and watch this video next where I talk about the top 5 credit cards of 2023. With all of that being said, I'll catch you guys next time.